Hello and welcome to the third episode of Incantation, a horror movie review podcast where we discuss both classic and current horror movies as well as everything in between. We're four friends from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and with a shared love for everything that is horror. My name is Joe. Today with me is Caleb.
Hi.
Lynn.
Hi.
Josh.
Hello.
Yep. And for this episode, as we forecasted last week, we're going to talk about possession. Before we go any further, I would like to issue a trigger warning to our listeners. This movie actually contains a lot of violence and self-harm and things that are very graphic in nature. So be warned, and we're going to talk about it a lot as well. I mean, not too much, I hope. Possession is a 1981 psychological horror drama film, if that's what it is, directed by Andrzej Żuławski, written by Żuławski and Frederic Tuten, starring Isabelle, Adjani, and Sam Neill. And the plot, I guess, it's about two married couples who is having a breakdown, a sort of like I guess they are going through a divorce, and we are about to find out why they're going through a divorce, I guess. And really, really crazy things happen throughout the whole movie. It's a 2-hour long movie. And because Caleb chose this movie, Caleb, I'm going to pass this to you, and you can give us an overview of the movie without any spoilers.
Oh boy. Right. This movie is, in one word, interesting. Right? That's like an understatement. Interesting. It's weird and it's all that crazy stuff. If horror movies today fit in a box, this movie throws that box into the dumpster and does its own thing. Right? Right. Right. So by the end of this movie, it did like a hard shutdown in my brain.
Blue screen of death.
I can hear the Windows 98 shutdown sound. Right. Without going, I know I suggested this show, but I went in without knowing what's it about or anything. I was expecting something like The Shining, right? With there's this couple and then they start going crazy. But it's so much crazier from the director's direction to the script and the actors. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's not for casual horror viewers. Like myself.
Like yourself. How would you describe your experience watching this movie?
It's just crazy. The whole time I'm just like, what is going on? Right? Yeah. Right. That's interesting. It's one word that I would describe this movie.
Okay, interesting. Right. So let's hear it from Lynn now.
The only thing I knew about this movie prior to watching it is that it had like 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, right? So, I had high expectations. I guess I was disappointed. And the first hour of the movie, I was trying to figure out what was happening and basically trying to figure out how to put things together. And the next hour, I still couldn't. So basically, I didn't get the whole movie. And I was even questioning myself if I should call myself a horror fan because I understood nothing from this. It's just bizarre, and there's so many like what Joe said, there's a lot of scenes that we don't usually see in our usual indie horror movies. They are just unbelievable, unexpected, and I like what Caleb said. I think it's not for casual horror movie viewers like myself too.
Okay. Maybe you want to describe like what what movie would be close to this movie in terms of experience? Would be even close to it.
I've never experienced this before in my life.
Okay.
It's the first time I didn't get anything from the movie. Not to say didn't get anything, but like I couldn't figure out what was happening throughout the whole movie. So yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. So I guess for me, I don't know. Everything is very disjointed in this movie. I guess that's intentional. I'm not sure whether it's intentional or it's just that the director is just messing with his viewers. But there is definitely a theme that is running through the movie, which is the break of relationship and how we as ourselves self-destruct when things don't go our way, right? So I guess I'm not sure, but I guess it's a good movie. There's a good movie in there somewhere.
Is it good or is it bad?
Yeah, everything is super disjointed and everything is meant to disorient you. From the actors acting, the way that they're acting, no one talks like that. No one walks like that. No one interacts with people like that at all. So you would question what world is this, right? And the setting it's in West Germany, I suppose, right? It's a European film, right? Those Europeans, they. And the whole town seems to have vanished. I'm not sure what happened to the town, but it's just like all the normal people is gone, and they left all the crazies behind. Something is wrong with everyone. from I don't know, from the
Everything's wrong.
from the teacher is something's wrong with the teacher. Something's wrong with the lady with the cast. Something's wrong with the detective. Something's wrong with everyone, right? And not to even mention our two main characters. So I would say this film is pretty disorienting for me. I have no idea what is going on most of the time. It's only you have to probably have to watch this show again 2 more times in order to actually get what's it really about. There is religious subtext. There's commentary on marriage and divorce and how it affects the human psyche and how it affects the children of it. There's religious stuff in it. So for me, I would definitely not recommend this if you are a casual horror movie person. But if you really want to maybe psychologically torture yourself, you could try this. Yeah. So on to you, Josh.
Yeah. So I seem to have a rather different experience than the three of you. So I mean, when Caleb suggested it, right, I had honestly never heard of this film before. And after watching it, I can't believe I never heard of it before. Possession is brilliant. It's brilliant. No, it's a real trip. I mean, okay, so there's a moment like there's a moment like 3 minutes into the film, right, where Anna and Mark, the two main characters, they are in bed, and you're wondering, like, why are they acting like this? Why are they talking like this? Mm-hmm. What on earth is actually going on, right? And it's at that moment that you have to decide whether you're going to get off the ride or whether you're going to keep your hands, arms, and feet inside the right vehicle at all times and just give over control to Żuławski. And I'm just so glad that I did that, you know. I mean,
I guess we were expecting bumper cars, but it turned into a roller coaster.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many other films. I was thinking to myself, watching this film, right? There are just so many other films where if it had been this, but it had played, if it had played the narrative structure that much, or where the dialogue had been that disjointed, or the characters have been acting so weirdly, I would just have been like, nope, I'm not here for this, right? So really, like, if you're looking for a film with a cohesive narrative structure or a straightforward plot, then you're not going to find it here, right? Nobody in this film comes across as a reliable narrator. One of the characters is apparently a judo master. God knows why. It's never explained.
Very overactive.
But
judo master.
yeah, but
Why?
yeah.
Who lives with his body?
But that doesn't mean that the film is incoherent, right? At least to me, right? It's far from incoherent. Like, this is a marriage story. The film that came out last year is dialed up to 10, right? So it just
21.
dives down into this breakdown of Anna and Mark's relationship, how it destroys the both of them. I mean, Sam Neill is great in this, but Isabelle Adjani, my God.
My goodness.
I mean, that was a fantastic performance. I mean, it's no wonder that she won Best Actress at Cannes for this performance, right? And just to touch a bit on what you were saying, Joe, I mean, there's this, I don't know whether you guys caught it, but there's this sense of paranoia throughout the entire film, or paranoia of being watched, of being, and that is really comes from its setting, because it's set in Berlin during the time when there's this tension between West and East Germany. The Berlin Wall, you can see it a number of times featured very prominently in the film. So it has this very claustrophobic feel that is both when you're indoors and also when you're outdoors, right? I mean, it's surprisingly funny. It's horrifying. It's demented. It is very, very stylish. Right? I promise you. Look, there's two ways you could say this, right? I promise you have never seen anything like this before. And Joe, Caleb, and Lynn say it like that's a bad thing. I'm saying it like it's a good thing. I promise you, you have never seen. Well, you guys don't seem as sold on it as I am. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
I guess this is the first time that a lot of us is experiencing something like this. I mean, it's not the first time for me.
It's not.
There was another movie that's like that, but I mean, it's chaos, but it's not necessarily not good movie. It's not necessarily a not good movie.
It's done in a unique way.
Yeah, it's done in a very unique way, and I mean, it's not gonna make any money.
Yeah, but I mean, I love every minute of it. If you haven't caught that yet, I love every minute of this film.
All right, okay. So, guys, that's it for our non-spoiler section of Possession. Do stick around and join us for our spoiler talk. All right, after this.
You are not different from anyone else. We are all the same, but in different words.
Okay, guys, welcome back. This week's discussion is Possession, 1981 psychological horror film, if you can call it that. And let's jump straight into the spoiler talk. What in the world was that about? I guess I'll go first. I have no idea. I mean, the very central theme is about Mark and Anna, right? And they're married, obviously, and then something happened to Anna, I suppose, and she wants a divorce, right? She wants to just leave Sam Neill's character, which is Mark. What is Mark's job, actually? Do you guys?
He's probably an intelligence officer.
Right, he's
He's
some
like
sort
a
of like
spy
a
or something.
spy or
Yeah.
something, right? So
Yeah.
Didn't it say in the beginning where he was like doing the interview?
yeah, I have no idea, but at the beginning of the movie, there was this imagery of the maypole, and it immediately gave me Midsommar vibes. And seeing how today is actually the middle of midsummer season, it's just weird. And then there's an eclipse today, a ring of fire eclipse happening today, and it's all just keep playing in my mind, and I'm thinking, what
and
in
the four
world?
people in the world watching Possession is like some sort of ritual that unlocks the end of the world,
Right? I'm like, what did we just do? It is weird. So okay, so I just got just getting that out of the way. But right, immediately we made Soma vibes, and then it's just okay. This is about two people breaking down, and their relationship is just over, right? And the rest of it is just a lot of this disorientation. I guess this is how couples would feel when they're going through a really messy breakup with no clear reason why they're breaking up or what's happening to them or on a relationship level, right? But then in the second act where they reveal there is this tentacle monster
Is that second act?
was that the second? Yeah, it was revealed in the second act.
It was like 1 hour in.
1 hour. Yeah, almost in the middle of the movie, right? So So they revealed that there was this tentacle monster, right? And I'm like, what in the what? Right.
The detective went into the bathroom.
Detective, right? So I guess.
And talking about detectives, right? That guy is like the worst detective in the history of the world.
I mean,
the way that he was following Anna, I was like, dude,
right? He was right next to him.
I had no idea what he was doing.
Paid?
I had no idea. I had no idea that he was supposed to follow her, and then I thought he was just some sort of a pervert who was trying to assault her or something. And then
the drunk guy ate a banana out of her
right.
bag.
She just knocked the banana out, and she didn't even care.
and then right before he enters the building, he just kicked the mannequin's head
right
into the air for no apparent reason. So what was that? So there's no rhyme or reason to a lot of things that is happening, but I guess you can assign a lot of meaning to it. I guess that's the director's intention.
Like what I said before, it feels like a play.
Mm-hmm.
Everything every actor does has to have like an exaggeration of action.
Yeah, all the actions and all their dialogue has an exaggerated tone to it.
Like, even when he's chasing her down, it feels super wacky.
It feels like a cartoon.
He's like doing all these extra motions, kicking the doll. It feels very play.
It's very
like
a stage play.
Yeah, like a stage
right.
play.
But yeah, so I guess it at the second half or towards the end of the movie, it just turned into supernatural, sort of like entity. I don't know what kind of entity is that. It just appears to teleport here and there. And I suppose Anna says, the thing is actually in me. It follows her everywhere and it manifests where she is, right? So is it like an interdimensional being or whatever? If I'm to take this movie at face value, not to read too much into subtext, it would be a monster that has taken a hold of Anna and then that's causing her to not want anything else aside from this monster, right? So and whoever comes close in contact with this monster just go insane. It's like a reverse Lovecraft, right? So yeah.
But so, I don't think you're supposed to take that monster literally.
Really? I mean, I mean, if it's been shown like a lot of times that everyone is seeing it. It's not like just Anna seeing it, or it's not like just Mark is seeing it. Right? You think it's an allegory for something else?
Yeah, I mean, the whole film is an allegory about something else, right? But it's that manifestation, right? I mean, at least to me, it's that manifestation of what she's the trauma that she's going through because of the breakdown of that relationship, and like how you're saying, like how it destroys everybody that comes to contact with, or how she thinks that it's destroying everyone that she comes in contact with,
right?
And how she feels the need to preserve that. And so it's kept away, right? When she goes into her marital home, it's kept aside. It's kept somewhere else. But when she does not have access to it, like it drives her crazy because that's where like her feelings are, and that's where where she can truly let loose in a sense, which is where I think it ties into the sexual connection that she has with that tentacle being. But yeah. So I think it's really not meant to. That
Okay.
I don't think that there really is a tentacle monster. I don't think she's having sex with a tentacle monster. I think it's meant to
I don't know those
represent,
Frenchies, man.
Yeah. I
Lynn.
think it's just meant to represent how she feels about the marriage. But yeah, Lynn.
I think I guess the themes were quite clear about marriage not being successful. You're going through a divorce. And I don't know if it's also related to I don't know whether there is any like how to put it sexual desires that a wife feels like because she hasn't met her husband in a long time. Apparently I think he was away for quite some time, and by then she already had an affair with this guy called Heinrich, right?
Heinrich, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know whether it's related to sexual desires, and that she has, like what Josh said, if this creature is just her imagination, she was doing it with the creature. I guess this is also like a movie that addresses homosexuality. Like the detective has a boyfriend, right? The second guy who died. I'm not sure if homosexuality was already widely accepted by 1981, but I think they're trying to say something there. So, I guess it's just not, I can't put these, themes into a horror film actually. Like, I would imagine it to be a better film if it's a thriller or if it's, anything but not horror, because like, I just can't join the dots together.
I'm gonna say what I think about it, but it's not gonna be correct though. Yeah.
I don't think there's a correct answer here.
It's gonna be
there's no right answer.
So out of the world. Right. So I thought this film is about the whole marriage falling apart and the Mark and Anna breaking up, and then because it says one part they said they have no feelings for each other, right? They're doing it just for the boy, Bob.
So what kind of a name is Bob?
The best kind. It's easy to remember. Bob.
You're saying that I forgot that the boy's name was Bob.
It's the worst name ever, Bob. Never mind. No offense to all people who name Bob. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Right. So I thought it was Anna trying to find like excitement in her life. So she goes around sleeping with people and all that stuff. And then I guess what's his name? Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess Mark was so desperate to fix that relationship, to keep the family together, he would, when he found out that she was killing people, then he decides to kill the Heinrich guy.
Just to see how she feels?
Just to see how she feels. And then they somehow got back together for that one kitchen scene. And I don't know. And then I was thinking this would go in a way like, it's the start of a psychotic family that goes around killing people. That's what I thought it was. And then as the film goes on, I'm just like, nah, I'm wrong. I give up trying to figure it out.
I guess you're the only one, Josh, that has any kind of coherent viewing, I suppose.
Yeah, but I mean, what I would say about something like The Possession, right? It's one of those films that you really shouldn't try too hard to pin down a narrative to it, because I think that narrative is secondary to how the director is trying to make you feel, right? This is a very emotional film, right? It's a film that is meant to be experienced, not meant to to think through because if you did try to go logically, there's going to be so many breakdowns in logic throughout the film. So Ben Sachs from the Chicago Reader says that the director Żuławski is using the breakdown of Anna and Mark's marriage to imagine various catastrophic breakdowns, right? Of interpersonal relationships, of social order, and ultimately of narrative logic itself. And I couldn't put it any better. I think watching this film, right, is the closest that you get to feeling like you're going mad. So, when you see like Mark's frustration when he cannot get a straight answer from Anna about why she's walking away from him, or Anna's torment whenever she's close to Mark, and who repeatedly tries to gaslight her throughout the film, right? Telling her how she's supposed to feel, how she needs to be with him. And then when you contrast that with how calm she is when she's away from him in her own apartment with that demon squid lover entity. When you think about how Mark is going to school after Anna had left him, and he meets Helen, who's Anna's doppelganger, and he ends up having an affair with her, or Anna's breakdown. Man, that breakdown in the subway station and that miscarriage and all the oozing fluids, and I don't think this film was meant for us to look at it and say, oh, this is what happens sequentially. You have this, and you have this, and you have this, and then you have this. It's really, it's a ride, right? It's a ride, and you're just meant to just go with it, right? But that's not saying that there was that it wasn't planned out intricately, because it is so rare to find a horror film like this that is so visceral, but it's so intelligent at the same time, at least to me, right? And there are just so many layers to this film. Like, you guys have talked about some of them already, and when Lynn mentioned the homosexual relationship between the detectives, there's also a homoerotic overtures between Mark and Heinrich, right?
Yeah.
Did any of you get that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when they met the first time, I'm like, why are you
touching?
Stop touching.
Stop touching, making me uncomfortable.
and they kept touching each other. They touched the first time they met, they touched the second time they met, they touched all the way every time they met in the
They
film.
went up the stairs touching, came down, still
Yeah.
touching. Like, stop it.
Even after Heinrich beat up Mark,
Yeah.
right, he was still trying to like caress him.
Yeah, and all of this is happening. Relationships are coming together. Relationships are separating. Berlin is being divided by its wall. It's keeping society apart. Everybody ends up displaced. There is really just so much going on. But I think it is doing this film a disservice if we actually try to look at it and say, plot-wise, this is what is going on. Because really the plot is secondary, I think, to, the just putting us into the shoes of people who are being driven mad because of how a relationship is breaking down.
What do you think about the director? I mean, obviously he has his style. I mean, I've never seen anything else from this director, but the way that he is asking the actors to act and the dialogue that is being spoken, I mean, it's just definitely is used to disorient the audience, right? But
Yeah, definitely.
Confused.
it's trying to make you confused, and sometimes I don't know if do you feel like the timeline don't really match up sometimes? And
They don't do this 5 years later or whatever, but it's in the conversation.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you don't know when things are happening and what and how things are happening, and even the geographical location of things is so relative that it's just you don't know where everything is. So it definitely is trying to disorient you, right?
Like, it reminds me of Junji Ito.
Mm-hmm.
He does a lot of
Yeah,
this
definitely.
spiral stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then this director, his camera work, he's always circling. He keeps spinning around the actor, and then the actor is spinning too. So it makes you very uneasy.
It makes you dizzy and
Dizzy and-
right.
yeah.
And I'm not sure, but Caleb keeps pointing out that the doorways.
Right?
Yeah.
The rooms and everything are super small. Like the roof is like almost touching their head. I'm like, dude, do they not make bigger houses or something?
The kitchen is tiny, right?
Yeah, the kitchen is
Kitchen's
tiny,
really
and then Mark is always on Anna's face in the kitchen. I'm like, there's no room already. Why are you still up in her face? She has to yell, "Excuse me," like 3 times for you to move.
But that's deliberate, right? That's like
Yeah.
emphasizing its
Yeah.
abusive nature, and where abusive nature doesn't necessarily have to be physical, but it does go and get physical. But there's also the like emotional abuse or like psychological abuse where you're just deliberately trying to mess with the other person. Yeah, it's I mean, Caleb, that was a really great point about like Junji Ito, right? Because like this really you would see this kind of like psychological madness a lot in Japanese horror, I think.
Right.
You find a lot of that there. And when you talked about the camera movements, right? So there are times, I mean, when you watch certain films and you're like, you find those camera movements or those shots to be gimmicky, right? But I really didn't find it to be the case in this movie, man. I mean, Żuławski, he really goes hard. I mean, there's dolly shots, there's handheld shots, there's tracking shots, there's
Extreme
long
zooms.
takes, there's static shots, yeah. But all of it, right, is used to push the film forward, right? It's all of it is there to serve a specific purpose. So when you talk about the rooms, right, he uses these split scenes with doorways to just show that even though people can be physically close, there is that separation between Anna and Mark. Or whoever those characters are whenever they move into a different room, and then you can see the doorway separating them, or like he throws the cameras around to just make us feel disoriented, or he pans really close to characters' faces so that we are just sharing this uncomfortably intimate space with someone that we probably don't want to get that close to, right? I mean, yeah, like Joe said, I've never seen another Żuławski film, but really, like, just throughout the film, I was just thinking to myself that, man, this is what it feels like to be in the hands of someone who is really a master of their craft. Like, he really knows what he's doing with all of these camera movements and things like that.
Was there any score in the movie?
There's like sound effects here and there. There's no like one main music, background music or something.
Right, it's very minimal as well.
Yeah, and then the film ends with like a really 1980s scene.
Synthesizer.
Right. I love that, man.
My God.
Lynn, do you find the director's style, anything with the director's style that is particularly interesting, or you hate it, or?
I think the terror between not between the characters they are. I think the scene at the subway was so. Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't know what to say about it. Like, it's crazy. It's 1 whole minute of Anna swinging around, rolling on the floor, and then eventually vomiting. I don't know. I'm not sure what was that, but she had liquids all over. That was. I don't know what was that trying to say, but it said. I think she miscarried, right, during that time.
Yeah, it feels like a miscarriage.
Yeah. But that time she seemed like she wasn't okay already. But anyway, I think I really don't know how to say this. the characters are just insane. Like, actually, initially I thought the crazy one was the husband, because he started going crazy first, and then eventually the wife. Then after that, I just didn't know what was going on. But I don't know whether it's because it's the first time for me to watch this movie. I don't know if I need to watch another time to understand it, or I might not even understand after watching it the second time. So yeah, I probably might need to also listen to your opinions and see if it's aligned with mine.
Okay. So, since you're on the subject of the subway scene, right? I guess everyone can agree that is one of the, I would say, most memorable scenes of the movie.
Right.
Man,
Yeah.
not
Right.
just the movie, man. That is one of the most harrowing scenes I've ever seen in my life. It's oof, yeah.
And it's almost presented without any kind of context, isn't it?
They just jump right into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing triggered it, and she's just
It was when she was talking about the chance and what's the other one?
faith and chance,
Faith.
and it was,
Faith and chance.
I guess it was right after she looked at the statue of Jesus on the crucifix.
Yeah.
Right.
But that
After
was
that-
really like, it was during a conversation between Anna and Mark, right? And this is like
Yeah.
the first time in the film
A
where
flashback,
she's
yeah.
opening up to him and saying, "When you were gone, this is what I went through."
Yeah.
And you know, again, it might not have literally have happened, but
right.
man, I'm telling you, that scene felt like it went on for hours, man. It was just
Yeah.
so harrowing.
Right. So apart from that scene, unless you guys want to talk about it some more,
What is there to talk about? She melted.
yeah, she melted, didn't she? She just thought of like everything is just gone from her. She's being emptied of herself.
I mean, that is one of the most I don't know whether creative is the right way to say it, but the depiction of, I think we can all agree that was probably the depiction of a miscarriage, and just how that is being depicted is just, I mean, the imagination that it takes, right, to put that on screen, and so that you as the viewer can, to some extent, be able to understand what she's going through. It's just, I was horrified throughout that entire scene, but also like in awe, right? And like, wow, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah. Right. So, any other scenes that is memorable to you, Caleb?
All those squid, the squid scenes, all the squid scenes. Like, I don't know. I had like impression that she made those things, because there were some dialogues that she said that it's not ready yet, or it's complete now at the end.
Okay.
I thought she made those monsters. I don't know.
I mean, if she conjured them or something like that.
Out of the people that she killed. I don't know.
But like what Josh said is not literal. But you're thinking it's literal, right?
Right? Because at the end, there was like a doppelganger of Mark that came out.
Right.
I thought this was one of those squid monsters that turned into Mark.
Right.
Then there's also this
but-
doppelganger of Anna,
Mm-hmm.
the teacher.
at the
Ellen.
end, only the doppelgangers are left, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
The doppelgangers has green eyes.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys noticed, but the doppelgangers actually have green eyes.
And
Yeah. And
They have
I
different
think
colored
they're meant
eyes.
to represent like the ideal, right? Like this is what we wanted. This is what Anna wants from Mark, and what Mark wants from Anna are represented in the doppelgangers.
Mm-hmm.
Like a reset, sort of like a reset, right? Because like you can now have a relationship with this thing that you don't have all this baggage, all this past with, but still is in the shape of somebody that you know that you must have some affection for. No, why would you keep that shape, right? So, yeah. I mean, that's
What
just my
about-
interpretation.
My interpretation is the demons took over.
we all have different interpretations.
I mean, if the film was literal, right? The literal, those were things that were summoned out of the depths of hell by Anna or whatever, whoever made them and conjured them or whatever, and then somehow it just possesses another person, and then they turn into them, and then I don't know.
We say a lot of I don't know in this episode.
What do I know?
What do I know?
Right. So,
And
yeah,
Żuławski is like, my job is done here.
yeah. What do you know?
What she doesn't even know.
Right. Interview with the director is just I don't know. So I guess what's memorable for me was the scene where Mark killed Heinrich.
Really? That's like
Oh,
mild
man.
compared to everything else, right?
I mean, that just came out of nowhere. He just
Alright, true.
180 turned into another person, and then
He drowns him in a toilet bowl filled with vomit,
full of
man. I mean,
poop.
come
I'm
on.
like, that has got to be the most creative way to kill someone.
Well, he died before he was drowned. He got hit with the
Yeah,
toilet
he got hit
thing.
with the toilet lid, right? And then how hard is that thing? And then
It's ceramic. So.
then he just dunks him in the toilet bowl full of vomit and shit. And then he just scatters his drugs everywhere to make it look like an overdose, I guess. I mean, that stuck with me, man. That's crazy.
I guess apart from the subway and the scene where that monster was making love to Anna, I guess it's just the whole vibe of the environment of that place where Anna was living. It's just weird that there's literally no one at all, and even in the subway station, like she was all over the place and no one was there. Like it's just weird and creepy, and it's disturbing to me. Like I can't imagine being in a subway station with 0 people. Except someone who steals your banana. Yeah.
But you get to share a banana.
That's the true horror, right? Somebody reaching in your bag and just grabbing whatever they want.
And you can't do shit about it.
I mean, he just wants one.
He just want one. I mean,
might as well
that's
just give him.
And then you see, like, and the thing is, like, at the end, I don't know whether you noticed, but like the bananas were rotting in Anna's place. She didn't even eat them.
Really?
You could have taken two.
What is this movie? Hey, Josh, what about you? Your most memorable scene?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have touched on the highlights. I guess one more that I'll add is maybe the scene where they're cutting and grinding the meat in the kitchen home.
That one.
And where like she was cutting herself, and then Mark cuts himself, and it's it really, like, to me it was symbolizing. And then Anna says it doesn't hurt, right? And like it symbolizes like how they have gotten so numb at that point where they can be inflicting these wounds upon themselves, or like inflicting those wounds on themselves to get a reaction out of someone else or someone that they care about. But at the same time, like, if when you're looking at it from a third person perspective, it's horrifying. But as the person who is doing it, like, you have already gotten so numb to this that that you don't feel what you're doing to yourself. That scene. And I mean, I have a thing about knives and cutting. So I guess,
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, George, because I know of someone, I won't reveal the name, but yeah, I've seen people's relationship on the verge of breaking down, and then that's just how it is, where one person that doesn't want to let go of their relationship would just start to hurt themselves, and they don't even care about the pain, they just want the person to come back. And yeah, I mean, that scene, the way that she was grinding up the beef, and then she's just
She didn't even use it.
she didn't even use all the beef.
Just grinding up beans. All her
that
beefs with
Anna
Mark.
is a food waster. Anna's a food waster. Bananas and beef.
Represents the beef
All those
she had with Mark.
all those milk she spilled in the subway.
She was throwing
She
around.
just whacked the milk on the wall. Man.
Milk
My
and
God.
eggs.
Milk, eggs. And there was green stuff too. I don't know what that
I
was.
don't know, guacamole.
Guacamole. Dear Lord. So is Possession really a horror movie, Josh?
There is, you have some reviewers that are saying that it's like a psychological drama, right? So like it's mislabeled as a horror film. But come on, there's so much blood, so many people die. Somebody is drowned in a toilet filled with vomit. There's a squid sex demon straight out of Lovecraft. This is horror. Come on. I rest my case. This is horror.
I don't know. Does anyone has any other differing opinions than it's horror?
It's pretty horror. Even if you like ignore all those
It is horror.
supernatural stuff like the squid and stuff, it's very realistic horror, right? It could happen to anyone's relationship.
I would say it's horror, not in the Hollywood sense,
Yeah.
right? Not in the jump scare fest sense, but it's really examining human relationship and how it could really go bad and how it could just implode and then it can just hurt everyone around. So that would be the true horror. And yeah, and the director is probably just throwing all this other gore stuff and monster stuff into it just to, I don't know, throw us off the scent or something like that. It's like, is it really horror? It's not really horror. Is Anna imagining all of this? Or, but if she's imagining all of this, then how come how come Mark can see it, and how come all the other detectives can see it? Oh my god, I'm done. Yeah, so it's horror, but not in the Hollywood sense, I suppose.
Yeah, not conventional. It's really not conventional.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh. So let's talk about a little bit about the ending. The ending did it make sense to you, Caleb?
Like I said, my brain shut down. I was like, all right, this movie is just, I'll just let it happen.
Why did Mark commit suicide? I mean, he rammed the car, asked the taxi guy to ram the car into the police and have the police chase him. And then he's just getting sort of like a thrill ride. And then he's just getting murdered by the police.
I don't know. I guess he's trying to feel what Anna's feeling with killing people, doing crime. Going back to the whole murder family. Family of murderers.
You clearly was not watching the same movie.
Clearly not.
Lynn, you want to take a stab at the end?
I have no idea. I have no idea what that whole car banging scene was about. He was probably disappointed or in shock when he saw Anna having sex with that creature, right? Maybe he wanted to kill himself, but I don't know. He wanted the police to catch him and kill him.
I mean, he wasn't.
Just end his life like that. I don't know. Like.
Right. I don't think he was shocked or anything when that last encounter.
I was shocked. I don't know.
What's funny is the taxi driver didn't even question it. He's
Right.
like, all right, I'll ram into it.
He's like, oh, this again.
It's like he does it like casually.
Okay.
Like he does it multiple times.
He does it multiple times. He knows to get out of the way.
Right.
After he rams the car, and then he's just bye.
he just took
I'm
off.
like, how many times have you done this?
Is that even your taxi?
Is that even your taxi? Okay, Josh, enlighten us.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just skip right to the very end, the scene where the two doppelgangers are separated by the door, and then Bob is apparently drowned in the bathtub upstairs, and there are bombs that are falling. And
Right, what was that?
yeah, I think it's just a really nihilistic kind of ending, right? Where it's just everything just goes to ruins. So this family is in ruins, the relationship is in ruins, and pretty much pretty soon the Berlin where they are in is going to be in ruins as well. So yeah, I think that's so it's a really really bleak ending. But then there's the techno music, right? So I don't know what this. I mean, that's the synth, not techno, the synth music. So
The synthesizer.
yeah.
80s
So
synthesizer.
it's like all hope is lost, but here's some synth. So,
But first, disco. My goodness, what a trip this movie was. I guess one last question would be, does our subject still wears pink socks?
What does that even mean? It was just this random guy that came up with, and then he showed us pink socks, and then I'm like, okay.
They made a point in the beginning of the movie too that Mark's boss was asking, does our subject still wear pink socks?
Right.
And then at the end, it's just
Żuławski is like, I'm not going to be narratively consistent throughout the whole film, but this one thing, the pink socks,
Here's the pin socks.
I'm going to
Did you
bring it back.
Did you connect the dots?
it's foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. Why no?
I don't know, but it's foreshadowing, right? Dear Lord. Okay, so I guess we'll just get to the recommendation part of this thing. So we could go first. Give us your recommendations and ratings.
Like I said in the beginning, not for casual horror fans, right? So, it's still a good, entertaining movie. I had a lot of emotions, laugh, and like, what is this? What's that? It's still pretty fun to watch. But yeah, so I would give it a 6.
A 6?
Yeah.
For the experience that you just had. A 6.
Yeah. the missing points is probably because I'm super confused. Right? It's still a good movie. It's very artsy.
Yeah, it's very artsy. It's very stylish, right?
Yeah.
So, I would say the disorientation I felt sort of stopped me from enjoying this movie as much as Josh. But I definitely see this as a horror movie, as a sort of like a experience or a trip. I don't want to say a drug trip because I've never had drugs. But yeah, this is, I suppose, as close to madness as possible, like what Josh said. And this whole movie is just an exemplification of that, right? The director says, how do people that is going mad feel like? So I'm just gonna make a movie that is just like that, right? Maybe the director has almost gone mad himself, and this is what he's experienced, right? But I would say I am straight down the middle with this movie. 5 out of 10. Because I have no idea what's going on half the time. Half the time I'm enjoying it. Half the time I have no idea what's going on. Half of the movie was okay, and the other half was just, what in the world? Yeah, so the rating does not say. I mean, my rating of 5 out of 10 is not saying that this movie is bad. It's just I
Your
don't
experience,
know.
right?
Yeah. I don't know if I should like it or not.
Right. So maybe I would watch it again after a few years. Then maybe the score will go up a little.
Maybe it's because we went in without any expectation of how the film would be.
I mean, that should be the way that we should watch it
Yeah,
anyway.
but
right?
how would anybody prepare you for something like this?
Right?
There's no way.
So if we go in
even
second
if somebody,
time.
yeah, even if somebody listens to this episode, it's not going to prepare them for what they're going to be watching. It decide after this,
Nope.
This sounds pretty interesting. I want to see it. Yeah, no, it's a totally different thing. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So 5 out of 10, but not bad. It's not a bad score. It's just I don't know. I guess that's the intention of the
on the
director.
fence.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not on the fence. It's just I don't know where to go. Right. So
Maybe the second viewing.
Lynn, tell us your ratings.
I think you are already quite aware that I'm not too fond of this movie. I'm also speaking much less this episode because I really don't know what to talk about it. I think the themes were quite clear. They wanted to, the director wanted to, he wanted to emphasize on marriage relationships, and anything related to sexual desires and stuff like that. I think it's just not too suitable to be made into a horror film. It's just a personal preference. Maybe because I'm also impatient. Like, I want things to be immediately understood the way I want it to be. But spending 2 hours in this movie, I didn't really get that. And I guess that's the only reason why, like, I didn't really enjoy the movie. And I wouldn't really give it a high score. Unlike Joe, I'm really on the other side of the fence where I don't like it. So yeah, I would give it a 2 out of 10. Initially I said 1, but I give it a higher score because like after listening to Josh, I think it deserves 1 extra point. Because I think I understood a little better from what he has mentioned. I personally, I wouldn't recommend this to someone who is as impatient as me, who wants to understand things in the first, at first glance or at face value. If you ask me if I would to watch this movie again in 2 or 3 years down the road, I would probably say no. But let's see. The future can change.
All right. So, Josh, justify your 10 out of 10. Straight 10.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody has been saying, this is a complex film. It's not an easy film, right? It's a really artsy film. It's a really European film. But this is what you get when you have this singular vision and is married to the technical prowess that you need to bring it to life, right? And when you put all of that together, the cinematography, the visuals, the acting, the themes, when it all comes together like this, it is literally like watching magic happen on screen. And for me, like this is why I love horror films. So, like when it is done right, no other medium can put you through an experience like this, right? This is literally like riding a roller coaster in the safety of your own, wherever you're watching it, your living room or your bedroom or wherever, right? And, should you watch it? I would say yes, but you have to be prepared. Like my co-host have mentioned, that this is not a film for everybody, right? It is a real ride into the heart of madness. And would I watch it again? Maybe not so soon. But this is a brilliant film. This is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Right.
2 10 out of 10.
2 10 out of 10. Sorry.
Wow.
So, Josh, if someone wants to get almost to the same experience as The Possession, the film Possession 1981, what would you recommend?
Drugs, really. I mean,
drugs. Just straight up hard drugs. That's no cool.
No. Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs, kids. Stay cool, kids. Please don't.
No. So if you want to watch a horror film that deals with the breakdown of a marriage in a really, really horrifying manner, you could check out Lars von Trier's Antichrist. It is much more horrifying. I mean, the imagery is much more gruesome than the ones that you see here in Possession. It is less funny. It is extremely visceral. Again, trigger warning, right? There is a lot of violence in that film. There is harm that is inflicted on infants, and it is a really, really emotional film. So you probably need to be in a prepared state of mind before you watch that. It is really a hard film to watch, Antichrist, but it is probably worth watching at least once.
Right. Okay. Lynn, do you have any film recommendation?
No, I don't experience
Okay.
Next week we are reviewing Antichrist.
No.
You see Lian drop out of it.
Right. So I guess I would recommend Lighthouse, the recently released Lighthouse by A24. It is about 2-person that is trapped in the lighthouse, and then it's just going mad and madder. So I guess that would almost be the same experience as Possession. I remember watching it. I mean, I felt the same kind of disorientation. So Lighthouse would be a recommendation if you want to watch Possession, or something close to Possession, right? So that's it for our discussion this week on Incantation. So following along the theme of Possession, we have Lynn to choose our next topic of discussion. So, Lynn, would you mind introducing us to what you have chosen?
Okay, so this movie, I won't classify it as a possession film. I'm not sure how to classify this, but yeah, wait till you guys watch it and tell me, because I really don't know what is this movie about. I mean, I know what is it about, but I don't know how to classify which theme or genre is this. But it's a Turkish horror film. I thought of doing something a bit more out of the norm, where like it's more hipster, like Turkish horror films are a bit underrated, but they're actually pretty good. So this movie is called, I'm trying to pronounce it properly. It's called Uk Hafile Bedwa. So in English it's called The Curse. And it's a 2018 movie directed by Alper Mekski. So he is one of the well-known directors. So Uk Hafile actually has I think about 5 movies now. So it's actually like a series of movies, but they're not related to each other. So they're independent and mutually exclusive. And this director has directed pretty well-known series as well. Sikin, if you've heard of it, and Musalat. So I've watched this once, and yeah, I just thought this would be something good for us to review.
Okay. So there you have it, guys. If you want to join us next time for Incantation, we will be reviewing that film that Lin Yan just mentioned. Good night, guys. Remember to subscribe to us. Bye.
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 Bye.